Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And as I promised, I am continuing on the Australian wine trail, trying to promote interest, build interest in Australian wines. As I've talked about many times over and over again, Australian wines have suffered dramatically over the last 5 to 8 years in sales, and I see it in my store. I've read about it. It's going on all over the place. Now I heard a whisper that premium Australian wines are kind of taking off on the East Coast. That's great. I hope that trend continues. But aside from premium wines, Australia has a lot to offer. And we've talked about this many times, and I'm going to say it again. They have a lot more to offer than just goopy, syrupy, red wines like Yellowtail, Lindemans, and those guys. Now, again, don't get me wrong, but they are good entry-level wines, and they're a good way to get people into wine. It's just that I think because of their lack of complexity, people get tired of them and they move on to something else, and it's usually not higher end Australian wines. They feel like the only wines that Australia only puts out $8, $7, $9 wines, and they don't want to pay any more than that for the wines. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I know a lot of people are on the same sort of wavelength as I am, that Australia has a lot to offer in the $15 to $25 range of wines. And like I said many times, and you know it, it's real easy to spend $20, $25 on a red blend from California, Washington, a cab from California or Washington, and a Pinot Noir from Oregon, or from California for that matter. People don't even think twice about spending $25, $30, $35 on a bottle of wine. But when it comes to Australia, for some reason they have this mental block that Australian wines can't be worth that much money. And as you noted, as you've watched the few episodes that I've done so far this year on Australian wines, they put out some great wines in that price range. They just do. It's there. It was nice to see the Somm Journal, February, March 2015. Give you a little close-up of this. Featured some Australian wines, and one of the Somms in this article was surprised that only one wine was 14.5 alcohol. The other ones were under that. So there you go. Australian wines have balance, elegance. They're great. They don't have to be high in alcohol. They don't have big fruit bombs. In fact, I think I have yet to run across fruit bomb in any of the episodes I've done so far this year. So let's get started. The first one we're going to do is called, let me see, let's get the vintage on this. 2013 Frisk Riesling, Naturally Pricky, from Victoria, $11. Funny. Some of the stuff they put on these labels cracks me up. There's the label. $11, so, we're not talking a huge amount for a Riesling. And as I pointed out, and I've said many times, Australia does some awesome Riesling. They have some pretty good Semillon too, and I'm dying to get my hands on some Semillon so I can review that on this show. Let's see. Ooh, a little bit of spritz on that. Maybe that's what they mean by prickly. A little bit of frizzante on that baby. So this is from Victoria. Victoria is that main region, central south Australia. Right, well, it's actually more southwest. But right above Melbourne, you have Yarra Valley, and above Melbourne is that kind of whole big area of Victoria. So they source their grapes from this larger state with a lot of appellations inside of it. Let's see what we get on the nose. So right off the bat, I get that great petroleum, like rubber beach ball smell. Definitely getting some apple, and definitely a little bit of pear coming through. Kind of an herbal component, not a strong herb like dried herbs, but it's there. Let's see what we get on the palate. That frizzante, that little spritz, adds a nice little element to this. Very dry, but it has a nice little sweet edge, almost a cane sugar edge to it. The petrol comes through on the palate, especially the mid palate, and it has a really nice, like very sweet, ripe Bartlett pear flavor to it. It's not a bone dry, but it finishes dry. It's a really kind of cool Riesling because it has that sweetness with that kind of undergo, like a little bit of lemon curd on top of the ripe pears. Very cool Riesling. I like it a lot. I think this is one of those Rieslings where if you're trying to break in and find out what all these kind of geeky Riesling guys are all about, and you want to understand this whole petroleum kind of beach ball rubber boot thing, this Riesling has it, but it doesn't have it in spades. It has just enough to kind of give you an idea what it's about. It has enough sweet, ripe fruit to kind of hit that palate area, and it finishes dry with that kind of lemon curd, lemon edge going on. I'm going to go B on this Riesling. I think it's very good. I might even hedge towards B+. I really like it. It has a little frizzante. Got to be prepared for that. I don't know if it says naturally prickly, so I'm assuming that's what it means. It's very good, very refreshing. Love it. You could have it with seafood. You could have it with Asian food. It has enough sweetness for like a spicy dish. Yep, I'm going to go BB+. Now, we're going to move on to a red wine. I wasn't sure if I should put the Riesling on the backside. I thought it was dry enough that we could go in this direction. But if it was really sweet, we want to go on the back end of the reds. So now this is not something you see very often from Australia. Pinot Noir, Yarra Valley, we already talked about that, just above Melbourne, 2013. Shoofly Pinot Noir, $12 retail. Give you a picture of the label. I'm very interested to try this. I'm not sure, the only Pinot Noir I've really tried from Australia, and I have liked it, is from Lindemans. They do a pretty decent one at a reasonable price. But the cool thing about Victoria, especially Yarra Valley, it's a cooler area of Australia, one of the cooler areas of Australia, which makes it really conducive to Pinot Noir. So let's see what we get on the nose. Right away, I like it off the bat. You get a little bit of that kind of burgundy, sort of toasted earth thing going on. It's a little bit light. I'm getting some cherry and strawberry notes. But it definitely has that kind of almost not sulfur, but like burnt, charred earth. Strawberries big time. Strawberries big time. Let's see what we get on the palate. A lot of wine guys use the term Burgundian. They do that because red wine might remind them of the same characteristics as a red from Burgundy. This has some of those qualities. It has that kind of earthiness thing going on. A lot of baked earth on this one. A lot of cherries, a little bit of cranberry action on the mid palate into the finish. It seems light, but it expands on the mid palate quite a bit. This isn't going to be a Pinot for everyone, but I like it. I like it because it shows a lot of the finesse and elegance of a Pinot Noir. It has some strength on it. It's very earthy, a little bit of tobacco going on, which I like. It has just a little bit of bitterness on the back end, which might throw some people off. So I'm saying that this Pinot is for somebody who likes old world Pinot Noir, perhaps from Burgundy. It doesn't have any Asian spice, so don't get any of that. Mostly cherries, a little bit of cranberry, tobacco, earth, baked earth. I like it. I'm going to go B- on that wine. I think for $12, it's a great little Pinot Noir. It'd be great with salmon. I like it. Good with roasted fowl. Very nice Pinot Noir for the money. So I'm going to go B- on that. Good start so far to this show. Now we're going to move on to what Australia really staked its reputation on, perhaps too much, and that is Shiraz or Syrah. So this is the 2013 Shoofly Shiraz, South Australia. So you got the whole South Australia, McLarenville area. There you go. And this rolls in at $12. So, you know, we're not talking super expensive by any stretch of the imagination. We're also not talking $8.99 Yellowtail or $7.99 Yellowtail either. That's very cool. I get like that eucalyptus big time. A little bit of mint and eucalyptus. On top of like currants and blackberries. A little bit of licorice coming through. Just out of curiosity, if it doesn't take me forever. Sorry about this. I hate it. I should do this ahead of time. Alcohol level is... How can I find it? It's got to be here. Come on, there it is, 14.5. That eucalyptus, kind of like a bark thing coming through too. Almost like I get like sweet peas, you know, like the pea pods, you know, when you bite into them right out of the garden. I'm getting a little bit of that. Let's see what we get on the palate. So this is the closest to a fruit bomb I've gotten, and I wouldn't even go fruit bomb on this one. It's got really polished tannins, very full on the palate, but it never gets like over the top. It's really kind of a cool wine. I get a lot of blackberry, boysenberry, little currant action coming through. A little bit of plum coming through. Yeah, you can taste it. Yeah, eucalyptus really comes through on the backside. A little bit of bark, tobacco, a little bit of chewy tannins on the backside, which I find very interesting. There's good acidity too to this wine. A little bit of char action going on, and get a little bit of that, a little bit of like a roasted meat thing on the backside of this one. I'm impressed. At first I thought, well, but it never exploded, never got too big. It's good acidity right at the end, really fresh on the finish. I'm impressed. Yeah, it has a little bit of old world stuff going on. I'm liking it. It's got enough fruit for, you know, some people that might want some fruit in their wine, but it's definitely got enough kind of like a bark, tobacco, all that good stuff that's going on for somebody that doesn't want too much fruit. Nice balance, $12, very reasonable. I'm going to go BB plus on that wine. That's a very well made wine. I love the eucalyptus element that's coming through on this wine a lot. They all showed really well, like I'm telling you, like I'm saying. Don't give up on Australian wines. They're great values. They have some wines in this price range, and they get a little bit higher, that are very well built, very well structured, very good wines. This would be awesome. Awesome with hamburgers, grilled steaks, pizza. Very good. Asian food, easily some spicy dishes. You could do that one. You could do it with shellfish if you'd like. And the Pinot Noir, just really nice for salmon. It's a lighter style Pinot Noir, but it's very good for $12. There you go. Thanks for watching. And remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Learn your palate, be true to it. Never let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like. Just drink it and enjoy it. And together we can take the snob out of wine.